and welcome back to Cash and Coffee Budgets. I'm Charlene, coming to you from Australia, and today I am going to be unstuffing my getting ahead binders to put into the bank to see if I can get some interest before my actual maternity pay stops. I have gotten at least 3 to 4 months in every section, and I've got just over a month of the pay coming in, but I want to keep it in the bank from this point forward. So the $250 that I was splitting between these two binders is going to be just transferred straight into my high yield savings account so that I can get interest before I actually have to start pulling money out of that account to put in my normal bills account each week, because I won't get the bonus interest once I start pulling money out, because it's not going to increase each month. And while I'm doing that, I have 30 questions that I was asked to answer from April on April's on a budget. So let's see what we're going to start with and which questions we're going to do. I will be keeping a track of this on my trackers as each bill gets paid for the month, and I will just reduce it down, and then next year I will be starting to get ahead again, but then I will tackle it at 1 month at a time, fully funding it, and then adding in things like groceries, trying to get a month ahead of groceries, and a couple of other little things like that we're going to do. There is a couple in here that I probably won't be stopping to stuff, as they're goals for next year, not this year. Alright, but okay, so question number 1 is, how old am I? Now that's an interesting question that you ask kids at the start of each year, and you get some very interesting answers from those kids, but I am 41 years old. That is how old I am. What would be your perfect slice of pizza? I would have to go with Supreme, although I'm not entirely fussed on olives. I probably would be taking the olives off, but I do like the capsicum and the cheese and everything else, just not the olives or anchovies. You can keep the anchovies as well. If you could only eat one thing, what would it be? That is a difficult one, because I don't know if I could limit myself to one thing. I eat a lot of seasonal fruit, so when lychees are in season, I like them. When custard apples are in season, I would eat them. But I'd probably have to go with something that I could eat probably all year round, would be avocado on toast. How many kids do I have? I have 2 little girls. One is turning 3 in December, one is turning 1 in October. What is the worst movie you have ever seen? I'd have to say Arachnophobia. That is the worst movie I'd ever seen, and it was torture because my sister would sit on top of me just so that I have to watch it. I did not like that movie. I do not like that movie, and I never want to see it again. And if they're going to make a remake of it like they have done of Twister and all of those, I will not be seeing it at all. That is just a no. That is the worst movie ever. How often do you listen to music? It depends. If I'm in a car trip, because my sister lives 8 hours away, where I go from listening to an audiobook to listening to some music. So in some car trips, that'd be when I would listen to it. But intentionally at home, no. I used to, when I was a kid, I used to actually have music to go to sleep to. I couldn't sleep if it wasn't playing, but now it's not a big deal. The vacation is actually one that's going to stay in there, because that is saving up for next year. I need the deposit for next year. This is one that definitely had to come out, taxes. I'm getting my taxes done. I can't think if this will come out after I get my taxes done or before, but my taxes have definitely been done, so I definitely have to unstuff this to be able to get my taxes done, because this was the correct amount for it. When was the last time you cried? Well, depending on, I could, like, that's a hard one too, because I can cry at stupid things. I can cry at a movie, and I mean that's a stupid thing to cry at. But probably the real tears, like emotional tears, would have been when I got to bring my eldest daughter home, because she was born premature. She spent over 8 weeks in hospital. So the day I actually got to bring her home was a very emotional day, and it wasn't long after that my dad passed away. So those are probably the last time I really cried, was not over some stupid stuff like a sad part in a movie. Yeah. Okay, let's move on from that one. Are you a morning person or night person? Normally I'm a night person, but having kids that get up at the crack of dawn, I am pulling this one out. I'm going to put it in my emergency fund, so I got 20, 35 to go into my emergency fund, because I do have the placeholder there. So 35, 45, 65. So I need to say that I need to get a $65 in placeholder to go in there as well. Okay, so yeah, since having kids that get up at the crack of dawn, I am forced to be a morning person. And I don't do well in the morning without having a cup of coffee. That I can honestly say. So I've got to put the $65 placeholder in there at the moment. My sticky note will suffice. Cook or eat out? I actually don't mind cooking. I do a lot of the cooking, because I even cook for Mum and cook for myself. This one only needs $20 more, so I'm going to pull this one out. I just know, make a note that I'll make an IOU note to say that I need to owe this one $20. But there is occasions when I just don't want to cook, so I will eat out. Okay, so next one. How many languages can you speak? One. I can only speak English. I won't even pretend that I can speak anything else. I studied Japanese at university. I can read it, but I cannot speak it. So yeah, just one. And this one only needs 20 more and it will be fully funded. So again, I will do the same thing, saying that I owe $20 to this one. So these ones that were a yearly thing were really close to being done anyway. Yeah, so I can read Japanese, but I can't speak it. Foods you dislike. Liver, kidney, Brussels sprouts, and all of those were my dad's favorites, and he would get it just the smell of it cooking. No, the smell of liver and kidney cooking, I actually dry reach and vomit from the smell of it. Ugh. No, so those are things I dislike. Favorite film? I'm actually going to say Pride and Prejudice, the old BBC one, the one that's on 2 parts. That is the one that I really enjoyed. Favorite TV show? Criminal Minds. Criminal Minds is the one that I like the most. School supplies, same like vacation, it needs to continue being saved up for, because I've got to get them for next year. So I'm going to leave in here school supplies and put the emergency to the back. I'm going to put in the money that I was still going to stuff for my two girls, so that's $5 each for them. The two that I have an IOU for, and hopefully I don't get myself confused with that 65 and saying that I need it as a placeholder, not a IOU like I have for those two. Yeah, Criminal Minds is my favourite show. Where was I born? I was born in Rockhampton. So that is the beef capital of Australia. That's where I was born. Actor crush, I'd have to say Keanu Reeves. I like him as an actor. What annoying habits do you have? Well, sarcasm, I'd have to say. They say that there's no stupid questions, but when you're being a teacher, there are some questions that are stupid. The one that probably gets me the most is the question of, we've just been out to lunch, 2 seconds, and I mean sometimes you literally just get into the classroom door and a kid is asking, can I go to the toilet? I mean, seriously, we've just come in from lunch and you're now asking me, can I go to the toilet? I mean, really. But yeah, so that's probably why I don't do well with younger grades. I know that there are grades where you can't say no, especially like prep or something like that, but when you get into the grades like year 6, year 5, no. Dudes, you're old enough to know that you should go to the toilet before you come back into the classroom. You should go to the toilet before you line up to class. So yeah, my sarcasm is probably one of the most annoying habits my students would tell you that I have. Probably another annoying habit that's just personal. I do pick at my, I guess you call them wicks on your thumbs. Are you afraid of spiders? Ooh, hell yeah. Yeah. I'm actually arachnophobic. Yeah. That one. I can do one of two things. I can completely freak out on you and scream my head off and run away. Or I can go into cold sweats and pass out. Both have happened. And both have freaked my family out. So yeah, terrified of spiders. Earliest memory probably leads back to that spider incident. I can remember being under a tree at my nana's place and being playing there quite some time, and then I can hear them calling me to come back up for lunch, and I look up and all I can see is spiders, and everywhere I was turning it was spiders, and yeah, I was screaming my head off. And I can remember my nana coming down with a walking stick, swinging at the spider webs to make a pathway for me to go through. Now, I don't know how I even got underneath this tree without noticing all these spiders, but I did. And that's one thing I can remember. And it's probably memories before that, but I would have been around about 5 years old when that happened. And like I said, I don't know how I didn't notice the spiders when I first went into that tree, but I was just playing there, and then yeah, my nana was swinging a walking stick, breaking the spider's web, knocking the spider out of the way so that I had a pathway just to get to her so that we could go up and have lunch. Favorite season, I'd have to say winter. I actually like being able to sit around the wood fire that we have, having a cup of coffee and just warming up. I find it easier to warm up than to cool down. Short or long hair? I actually have medium hair. I don't like it too long or too short, so I'm medium. Last drink that I had was a cup of coffee. What piece of advice would you give to your younger self? Do not become a teacher. It is an absolutely thankless job. There are some awesome kids out there, and there are some nightmare kids. There are some awesome parents, and there are some nightmare parents. But you have so much pressure from your principal, because they have so much pressure from the district office, and then there's so much pressure from the government, and it filters down, and on top of you, you're the one in the classroom, you're managing behaviors, you're teaching content, and sometimes you're actually trying to teach the kids how to behave in social situations because they haven't learnt simple things like please and thank you at home. Some kids come to school with no lunch, so you're providing lunch, and then the parent will get up you because you gave their child some lunch. So there are some awesome parents out there. I've had awesome parents, but the ones you remember the most are the ones that will yell and scream at you because I gave their child some lunch. So yeah, I would say do not become a teacher. Find a different career path. The last book I read was by Anne Bishop called Written in Red, and I am moving on to her next one, which is called Murder of Crows. That is not a book for everyone. Don't read it if you don't like a little bit of supernatural theme. Eye colour. I actually have hazel brown eyes. Bits and flicks of green in it, but yeah, more hazel brown than green. Favourite musician? I'd have to say probably the band Nickelback. That's the last one that I can remember. I remember going to their concert, and that's years ago, and I still listen to their music every now and then when we're travelling in the car. Favourite thing to do on a Friday night? It's not a Friday night. Friday afternoon after we get off from work, a group of teachers would get together, go down to the local coffee shop. We'd have a coffee and a cake and just a chin wag, and we get home, and then after that I'd probably just want to have a shower, get dressed into my slippers, lounge on the couch, either read a book, watch a bit of TV. Pre-kids. This was pre-kids. Right now I'd be happy to probably still have a hot shower, get dressed in comfy clothes, lounge on the couch, read a couple of books to the kids, play a couple of games to them. But before that, yeah, it was still the same. Lounge on the couch, read a book, watch TV, and then go to bed and not having to worry about getting up early to get to school, to get prep, because you couldn't get everything completely done for the next day, the day before, because you either had a staff meeting or something, and so you said, I'll just come in earlier on the next day to do that. And Friday night, you don't have to get up, get moving, get your lunch, get to school, get the classroom set up, ready before those kids turn up. So just being a bit of a lazy person on a Friday night. Do I have a pet? Yes, I have a very annoying blue heel across cattle dog. She's in that puppy stage. What makes you laugh? At the moment is when my daughter is throwing a little bit of a tantrum. The last one was because I couldn't push her on the swing because I was sitting down with my youngest daughter, and Nanny couldn't push her on the swing because she was actually giving Bonnie her food, and she went and hid behind the chair and just started making these wailing noises. No tears, nothing. We ignored it. She come out, and then she asked to go on the swing, and we did. We just had to wait for that little bit of a period to come out. She came out. She did say sorry and asked, could we swing please? And it's cute at this age. It's not annoying yet. I'm waiting for it to turn into that annoying bit. Happiest memory would go back to the time that the last emotional thing I can remember about crying about was bringing my daughter home because of being preemie and everything like that. actually getting her to take her home was awesome feeling. And then after that, we found out that she had clicky hips. She had to go into a pelvic harness, and she was in that pelvic harness for over 3 months, which delayed her walking and everything. Her hips are perfectly fine now, and she's up and running and awesome. But bringing her home and then getting her out of that pelvic harness, and then her getting up and walking, her meeting those milestones, even though they were delayed, but she still did it. And that's my happiest memories. And of course, having my second child and not having those added issues on top. She wasn't preemie. She doesn't have clicky hips. She is meeting her milestones on time. Favorite color? I'd have to say purple. Short and sweet purple. Alright, so I've been thinking about who to tag for these ones, and I thought maybe Renee had just rolled it in glitter, because I know she's after her watch hours. She's got her 1,000 subscribers, but she does need her watch hours. Then I thought maybe Roxana over at Rox Budgets, because she's on the road to 1K. She's almost there at 1,000 subscribers, and her watch hours, I think she said she met her watch hours, but still needs it to continue because she's been doing this for over a year and her watch hours will decrease. And then I thought, how about Jamie and Jamie RM Budgets? And so those will be the 3 people that I tag to do this. Alright, hopefully that gives you a little bit more information about me. The only other thing that I probably should have said, yes, I have 2 girls. I went down the route of IVF. I got to the stage, like I said, I'm 41 years old. I got to the stage where I said, you know, enough's enough. I want to be a mum. I haven't met Mr. Right. So I went down the path of IVF and donor sperm. Both my girls have exactly the same father, but I am doing it as a single mother, and that is a path that I chose. And I wouldn't change it for the world. I have 2 beautiful little girls. Alright, so that's everything from me. I will catch you all later. Before that, I better actually say how much I am actually going to be taking back to the bank to try to earn interest before I have to start pulling it from that account. Just having it sitting there and finishing those questions off first. Alright, so we've got 100. And now it's going to be all the wrong way. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 20, 40, 60, 80, 7, 20, 40, 60, 80, 8, 20, 40, 60, 80, 9, 20, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 1,000, 1,050, 60, 70, 80, 90, 1,100, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 1,200, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 100, there's 1,300 if I'm not mistaken, and 15. So 1,315 going back into my high yield account before I actually start pulling it out to go across. I will be still stuffing it for my next 2 big pays, and then I will be starting to deduct off of those trackers what has been paid. It will be completely depleted by the end of this year. I have got enough there to actually get through to the bills all the way up until January, when I will be back full time, going back to work, and then I will be starting this again. But I won't actually have to put as big amounts in, because I'll just be tackling it 1 month at a time instead of trying to get 5 months at a time. So my next year's goals are to get the emergency fund up over 2,000 yes, it's over 1,000 this year, but I dare say I might need to touch it if unexpected bills to pop up, because you just never know. So I'm going to treat that emergency fund as if it is part of my bills, which I know is not ideal, but that's just the way I'm going to deal with it this time round. And then I'm going to do both. I'm going to say I need 2,000 in my emergency fund next year, because I will be using, I'm hoping not to be using it, but I will be, it'll be there, it'll be a buffer. I still have the tax that I'm hoping I get a decent tax return, but you never know with these things. I'm hoping with that tax return I can knock down my debt by a whole heck of a lot, and the money that I've been using in Rock's budgets will more than likely pull at that time to see if I can actually make a big final payment on it, because if I get what I'm hoping to get, I should be able to just pay my debts completely off, and then everything else that I go on for the rest of this year, which will be a single pay, that'll be $600 for the month, will be what I'll live on for groceries and a little bit of savings challenges for the rest of this year. And I'm going to still be continuing doing savings challenges, but I probably will be making it the low income way from, but I got two big pays, 2 small pays, so just over a month and a half I'll be making it the low income way from that point on, or I'm just going to have to do it in chunks and do a little bit, a little bit, and a little bit, but it'll all work out. All right, I will see you all later. Bye bye.